TV for the final time in the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. It is finale Tuesday here once again for another season of RTA, and it's come right down to the conclusion for the second season running. Oscar Mangan, Ronan Doherty, Sean McGoldrick and Dylan McClements all still mathematically can win tonight's championship, and we're in for three brilliant races around a fabulous circuit and a fabulous man alongside me to bring you this evening's action, other than Ronan Hederman, of course. It is Mr. Kieran McGinley. Kieran, it's a pleasure to have you back, and it's a good circuit, I think, to round off the season.
Yeah, thank you for having me back. Yes, you left the commentary door unlocked, so I just sort of waltzed in here. But yes, here I am for the finale alongside you, Evan. It's great to be alongside you again for a finale where, you know, four drivers have a chance to win the title. Oscar Mangan goes in on top into this one. And yes, Leguna Seca, what a brilliant circuit this turns out to be. The sand is unforgiving. It's very good on the undulation, lots of altitude changes, and of course, you cannot forget the legendary, the infamous corkscrew, where we saw Alex Zanardi complete a move off the track at this very corner to claim an IndyCar win here in very dramatic circumstances. So it's not a track that's free from controversies. Let's hope it's a bit more plain sailing tonight.
Yes, if there's one track that you probably don't want to come to for a championship finale, it is this one, because it's very easy to make a mistake. It is not always an easy endeavour to wrap up a championship around this famous circuit. But in terms of that championship, it is Oscar Mangan who comes into tonight with a very healthy lead over Sean McGoldrick in second, Dylan McClements in third, Ronan Doherty in fourth. Remember, folks, of course, we will have a drop round after this, but Oscar and Ronan's drop round is 0, because they've both missed a week, whereas Sean and Dylan both have an actual points loss incoming. So technically, once you get rid of their lowest scoring round so far, Ronan Doherty is in second, but Oscar Mangan either way has a nice controllable lead. Then Sean McClements is in fifth, Jordan Kelly in sixth, Evan Walsh in seventh, Kevin Joyce in eighth with Jamal Gandor in ninth, and Rory O'Shea in 10th. Ronan Doherty, very interesting lead for him. He was looking to try take all 3 wins last week and put the pressure on Oscar Mangan, but a blunder in Heat 3, a collision with Kevin Joyce and a penalty has left him on the back foot, and without that penalty, without that big blunder, he'd be leading coming into tonight. So very disappointing for Ronan. But the championship, although very heavily one-sided, I think it's safe to say, Kieran, it's not over just yet.
It is never over until the final checkered flag falls. And we have 3 races to bring tonight as well. So there's plenty of points still up for grabs for these drivers, and plenty of opportunities for, you know, championship debacles to really unfold. You just never know what you're going to go into for a championship final. And I think that is why we love them so much. So yeah, obviously in our chats, let us know who you're backing tonight. Are you backing arguably the favourite here in Oscar Mangan? Obviously, as you've already said, he hasn't got the drop round points-wise to contend with. So what he's on right now is what he is on with the drop round, if you like. So he's probably got the strongest chance to win this championship. And with the, I believe it is 5 wins he's had so far this season, mega consistent throughout the entire season, and it's scary consistency as well. It's one of those seasons where maybe he's not on top of the whole season, but he's in the podiums enough to just make sure he's really up and about it. 15 times Oscar has finished on the podium. He's only not finished on the podium 3 times, a 4th place, a 6th place and a 10th place. That is scary consistent.
Yeah, that's even more consistent than I thought it was. And the man in second place in the order, Sean McGoldrick, has also had extreme consistency. Not to that level, but there's a reason that Oscar is leading, is because he's the only man at that level, and he really has shown that he can keep up with the best here in RTA. But very important qualifying coming up here at Leguna Seca. It's not an easy track to overtake at, or it's not an easy track to cut through the field at because of that gravel. It's not wide runoff, so every single mistake is punished heavily around this 2.2 mile circuit with a lot of famous corners. It has 11 of them to be exact, or there is unfortunately one corner with a letter in it.
Oh, no.
No.
And it's the corkscrew as well. Yeah. Well, you win some, you lose some, eh?
Yeah. I suppose they give us a good corner, but they kind of ruin it a little bit with that. But still a fabulous track nonetheless, and I think it's going to provide some entertainment.
Definitely, and in these Mustangs as well, it's been great to sort of tour the Americas, once to Canada, the rest to the United States. But yeah, we finish up here at Laguna Seca, the sweep through the desert then, as see drivers make their way out onto the track. There is Ronan Doherty, who is making his way now up the hill towards the corkscrew, up the Rahal straight. You get over the crest then, and you just about see where you need to be braking, but of course it's a very blind apex down in towards the corkscrew. You really have to put the practice in, trust the car, and trust that the track and the apex will be on the other side when you aim for it. You know, shooting in the dark for that one, but the more you practice the corkscrew, the more you get familiar with turning into a blind spot. Whoa, that's a big collision there. There was absolutely nothing that Sean McGoldrick could have done about that one. A car just losing it right in front of him then down in towards turn 10. Luckily though, it is qualifying, so you can just instantly reset. The only problem is you have to go all the way back to the pit lane, you have to do your outlap all over again. And looking at the outlaps here, you know, you're looking at 1 minute 40, 1 minute 50, so that's valuable time taken out. That's a valuable lap at least taken out of the qualifying.
Yeah, especially a man that needs a good qualifying run as well. We'll go on board with someone in a couple of moments when they're coming back round, but for now Oscar Mangan is purple in the first sector. Ronan Doherty, I believe, who we are looking at now in the purple. Team DDR car, he's gone purple in the second sector, so has beaten Oscar there. They're both up track pretty much together, so this is very interesting to see them running around in unison. Another driver who had a very strong week last week was Sean McClements, of course, as he was able to take a Heat 3 win for the second time this season. He's now been on the podium in Heat 3 for 3 consecutive weeks, looking to round that off with a 4th consecutive week and take another podium this season. Down through the corkscrew, you can see Ronan Doherty and Oscar Mangan are trading best sectors, but Mangan just going slightly quicker for the time being. He is purple in 1, 3 and 4, whereas Doherty is purple in 2. We'll stay on board potentially here with the championship leader for an onboard lap of this fabulous Laguna Seca circuit. You'll see the times there on your left hand side now as Ronan Doherty does go quickest and Oscar Mangan is looking to jump up the order. But down towards turn number 1 then, turn number 2 I should say, turn number 1 the flat left kink. This is the Andretti hairpin, accelerating out of there using all the curve on the right hand side for double apex right hander. You're just getting as close to that orange sausage curve as you can on the right hand side in towards the sort of high speed turn number 4, one of the faster corners on the circuit, very easy to run across the gravel there on the outside. Down towards turn number 5 then, first of 2 left-handers. You want to be heavy on the brakes, pick up that curb. There's an extended curb on the outside there in that corner in real life now, but these drivers don't have that luxury. Quick flick to the left on towards the Rahal straight, named after famous IndyCar family, the Rahals, Bobby and Graham. Graham still actively racing, but straight is named after Bobby, in towards the famous corner, the corkscrew. You all know it. Into the left, down to the right, ferocious in towards the rainy curve, named after the MotoGP motorcyclist. But very quick through there for Oscar Mangan so far. 2 corners to go then, 2 crucial ones. Turn 10, you don't want to run wide here because that'll leave you on the beach down towards the pit lane. And then it's a heavy braking zone for the final hairpin. Hook it in, get it as close to the inside as you can and extend out on the curb on the right hand side. Open across the line. Is this going to be quickest for Oscar Mangan? There is the checkered stripe on the floor, and it is. So Oscar Mangan quickest of the bunch, but only by a very small margin.
A very small margin at this moment in time. Still plenty of qualifying to run through. Sean McClements goes 5th fastest then in this run. Adam Dowling also moving up to 6th place, I suppose as well. We better talk about the B Championship as well, Evan, because I mean Stuart Brereton has done a great job so far this season. I think we need to give a reminder of how the B Championship stands as well.
Yeah, so Stuart Brereton is on top of that one, ahead of Gary Corcoran. Stuart on 103 points, Gary on 72. Rich Murphy on 55, Grace McCallion on 13, and Aaron Dalton on 7. And I think Stuart is technically the champion already, because I don't think Gary can outscore him, because Stuart obviously doesn't have a drop round.
So that might seal it then for Stuart Brereton, but we'll keep an eye on him. You never know. You never know what might happen in races like these. It
would be a very, very Peter McCann thing to do to announce this as a double points round, to be fair.
Yes, yeah, to be fair, yeah. We'll just take it all the way back to 2014, won't we? Oh yeah, it's double points and we'll never do it again. I could see it. I could so clearly see it. 14th fastest though for Stuart Brereton right now overall, as the lap times keep on coming in. Oscar Mangan though still fastest. Ian May jumping up to 8th place now, 23.9, and Conor Melia is 5th fastest right now on the 3rd row of the grid.
Yeah, Conor Melia up to 5th. Nice to have Conor back after his take on a Top Gun franchise movie in the Irish Formula V Championship in real life. He had a bit of a nasty accident and then was ruled out with a concussion. But it's great to have Conor back up the top of the order and in 5th place. He splits the two McClements brothers, who were 1-2 last Tuesday night in heat number 3. But Dylan, crucially, picked up 30 points in penalties in that heat. 1 in a Heat 2 incident, or 15 in a Heat 2 incident, I should say, and then another 15 in Heat 3. So that has hampered his championship chances very much so. But Dylan always just comes in with the mindset of winning. I can't imagine that's going to change tonight. He's in 4th. Just ahead of him is Sean McGoldrick in 3rd position, and then of course it is Mangan and Doherty. No Jordan Kelly here tonight, mathematically out of the championship already, but it's a very rare occurrence not to see Jordan still trying to win in the final rounds. He'll be back for next season's championship in that very Formula V class. So remember, you can check out RTA Motorsport.com if you want to sign up to that one.
Yeah, and if you can see if you can beat Jordan Kelly in his own back garden, really. He loves the open wheels. I mean, to be fair to Jordan Kelly, he loves anything we throw at him, any sort of challenge. It's not quite clicked for him in the Mustangs this season. He's still got a couple of wins to his name, regardless. But it's just one of those seasons for Kelly that he'd rather just put behind him, and it seems like he's just going to do that now. 4 wins though this season, but yeah, there's a 20th in there, a 16th, very un-Jordan Kelly-like performances. But of course, he's been in his own instance as well. Didn't start off on the greatest foot, because round 1 he got a 16th place, round 3 he got a 20th, and I think that sort of just set the tone for the rest of the season, unfortunately.
Yeah, on the back of 2 championship winning seasons, it's not been ideal for Jordan Kelly. But as you said, look, he loves single seaters. That's not a hidden opinion to anyone on this RTA grid. So we know Jordan Kelly will be back. Ronan Doherty still just behind Oscar Mangan. He's done the 22.1. Mangan's done the 22 flat. So Ronan just a tad bit off. He'll be trying to put in another quick time. Colin O'Regan improves to 11. Tony Stack currently sitting in 13. He was a man who was involved in a lot of battling last week in VIR as well, although Tony always seems to find himself in a bit of a mid-pack tussle. David Prunty goes to 11. Still no times on the board from Peter McCann for Jamal Gandor, Rich Murphy and Lawrence de Soswa. So we are awaiting times there, as Jamal on the podium last week in heat number 3. The only non-McClements on the podium in heat number 3, and a job well done by Jamal. Drove great last week in VIR, was just a step ahead of those who he's usually fighting with, and he's looking to continue that strong form into here. When he was talking to us last week, he said he loves the tin tops. He will be sad to see the back of them.
As will we, as well. Yeah, he's up to 9th fastest though. Onto the 6th row of the grid. There is Sean McClements. Sorry, 5th row of the grid. There's Sean McClements very briefly. Peter McCann bringing his Mustang to a stop right at pit entrance. Yet to set a lap time on the board, and we have about 6 minutes just under left to run. Oscar Mangan then goes even quicker now. 121.9 puts him at the top of the table even further. Oscar Mangan though, 2/1000ths of a second shy of Doherty's lap time. That is quite remarkable. Only 2/1000ths of a second separate Doherty and Mangan at past the halfway mark in qualifying. Great to see. And Ronan Doherty, he may be 4th place in the title, but he's giving himself every opportunity to see what he can claw back.
Yep, he is giving himself all the chances. Ronan as well this season has been fabulous from winning from pole position, apart from Willow Springs, of course, which he has politely asked us not to talk about in the interview last week, where he quote-unquote bottled it. He won from pole last week in VIR, but he was kind of a step above pace-wise. He does have Oscar Mangan back with him this week to challenge him, so it'll be very interesting to see what those guys are going to do down towards turn number 1. Here's Conor Melia rounding down towards the rainy curve of turn number 9 in towards the left-hander. He's just been pipped by Sean McClemens, who improves to 5th place. Oscar Mangan's found even more time in that final section. He's just coming through the final corner now. Let's see, is he able to beat Ronan Doherty, the number 16, heading towards the start-finish line here in Leguna Seca. It is across it, and it is quickest. So Oscar Mangan once again turns the tide in his favour.
Yeah, swapping lap times here. This is a great qualifying session. 1 minute 21.823. So he's just managed to find another 1/10 of a second there. And the great drivers, they can set those lap times. Others will set lap times just similar to them. And then all of a sudden, you just find 2-3 tenths of a second. And the rest of the field just sort of look at you and think, how on earth did you do that? No wonder it was named after, that sort of move was named after Michael Schumacher. He did that quite frequently. But most of the qualifying heroes managed to just pull 2-3-4 tenths even, just out of seemingly nowhere, to just reaffirm their status at the top of the order. Here goes Dylan McClemens then out of the final corner at turn 11. He'll make his way across the line. Does he get an improvement on the board there? I think he did set a personal best, but it didn't get anywhere in terms of improving his position. He stays 4th fastest.
Yeah, so 4th fastest for Dylan McClemens so far. Then it's his brother Sean behind him. Then it's Conor Melia, Brian McCarthy, Kevin Joyce, Jamal Gandor, John McDonnell. Ian May in 11th. Ian got a personal best of the season last week in VIR. Got 4th in the final heat, beating Simran Thacker to 5th. And that was a personal best for Simran as well. So Simran, I don't think actually here tonight, which is disappointing to see. But Ian May was certainly very fast in VIR. But this is a very different circuit. You have sort of flat, long straights in VIR. It's anything but the opposite here at WeatherTech Leguna Seca. And this track always is one that's always been very popular amongst sim racers. And I suppose the first real sort of international look at sim racing, I personally think, was at this circuit. Does anyone remember when Jeremy Clarkson played a Gran Turismo game here at Top Gear?
In the NSX, the blue NSX? Yes, absolutely. And he tried to match that lap time. I think he was, am I right in thinking he was about 10 to 15 seconds off? Something along those lines.
I'm probably being shouted at in the comments for bringing up Gran Turismo once again on an iRacing stream, but look, yeah,
he's done it now. You can blame him for that one. Wow, that is unlocking memories that I forgot I had. There you go. Speaking of memories that we forgot we had, Ronan Doherty's in 2nd place right now, 1:21.985. Can he go quicker on this lap time as he makes his way up towards the line? Then does he get an improvement on the board? Hasn't come through. He has, so he stays 2nd fastest. And now, just looking at the lap times there, I think he will get one more chance to see if he could usurp Oscar Mangan off the top of the timing sheets.
Speaking of unlocking memories, is Ronan Doherty running a retro Williams helmet? I thought I saw Nigel Mansell's old sponsors on his helmet when we were inside.
I think you're right. I think you're right. We need another look at it then. Is it R. Nige? I think it is R. Nige.
There's Sega. That has to be Nigel Mansell, sure.
Has to be.
We can ask him afterwards, but that just caught my eye. It's a very nice helmet, that one. So a good taste by Ronan Doherty if he has chosen that. Simon Hutchings improves to 18th. Ian May jumps up to 10th ahead of Peter McCann, who now has got a lap on the board. No lap from Rich Murphy or Lawrence de Soswa, although Lawrence's no lap on the board in qualifying has kind of become traditions this season, as he's probably be going for another last to first. But also, big shout out to Lawrence de Soswa, who hit the 20,000 subscriber mark on YouTube. So he is probably celebrating right now in the garage, and a big shout out there to him. Oscar Mangan, although going purple in the 4th sector, not able to improve overall, but that lap that he did set still would have been pole position. So that goes to show what sort of pace Oscar has here.
Here goes Ronan Doherty across the line. He's been green in other sectors. He goes quicker, but not quick enough. He stays 2nd fastest. And that will be the end of it, because if you're new to this and you've tuned into a finale, there's no better time to join us. But once that clock hits 15 minutes, that's the end of the session. You don't get to complete your lap here. So for someone like Sean McClemens, it really is a race against the clock to get the lap time on the board. Colin O'Regan will not get to finish his lap time. He will get to tackle the corkscrew one last time to see how aggressively you can take it, as he'll now wind his way through in towards the final few corners. But at that 15-minute mark, that's qualifying over. It's Oscar Mangan who's on pole position for the finale.
Yeah, crucial pole, but they are separated by less than the 10th of a second. So still Up for grabs, Ronan Doherty in second, ahead of Dylan McClements in third. Sean McGoldrick then in fourth, with Sean McClements in fifth, and it's Conor Melia in sixth. Brian McCarthy starts in seventh, Kevin Joyce in eighth, and Jamal Gandor ahead of Ian May in ninth and tenth.
Peter McCann with those late lap times. I think he only got 2 laps in. Starts 11th place. John McDonald in 12th place. Adam Dowling in 13th. Colin O'Regan in 14th place with Tony Stack in 15th. Gary Corcoran in 16th place with David Prunty in 17th place. Simon Hutchings in 18th and Colin Carrigan in 19th place. And Stuart Brereton, our B Championship leader, rounds off the top 20.
Yeah, then a little bit further behind that is Philip Upson, Lawrence de Soswa, and Rich Murphy. No lap times from the bottom two. But that's your grid then, here for the season finale at Leguna Seca. We have 3 heats, of course, the first being 10 minutes, second being 15, and then the final being 20 minutes and reverse top 8. But we will get to that in a few minutes' time. For now, Oscar is probably very confident in where he sits, Kieran, because he has taken pole ahead of Ronan Doherty, his championship rival.
Yeah, you don't get points for pole position, but what you do get is that huge mentality boost, don't you? You start on pole position, you get to control the pace, you get to decide when this race starts from that rolling start. So behind the pace car Porsche, he'll have every bit of confidence about him here. He starts off tonight with a win, and it gets ever more uncatchable for drivers around him. Just to remind you of our sort of protagonists here, Oscar Mangan leading the championship, Sean McGoldrick second place, Dylan McClements in third, and Ronan Doherty rounding off our 4 protagonists coming into tonight's racing action. So those are going to be your 4 to watch. Oscar Mangan, championship leader, starts on pole position. Ronan Doherty is 4th in the championship, but gives him a good heading going in towards tonight's racing action, starting 2nd in this race. Dylan McClements, who's 3rd in the championship, starts 3rd in qualifying. And then we have Sean McGoldrick, who's 2nd in the championship right now, 4th in the qualifying. So our top 4 are all ready for battle. They might be slightly scrambled for their championship positions, but it's great to see the quartet that have a chance of winning this title lock out the front 2 rows. Watch out for turns 1 and 2. They could get pretty spicy.
Yeah, it's a quartet, but I can't imagine it's going to be a nice smooth symphony. Was that Oscar Mangan already taking a trip to the gravel? I think it might have been, but probably controlled. There's a reason behind everything, especially when you're a leveler racer such as Oscar Mangan, a driver and coach for Altus Esports, of course, and a man who has had plenty of success in the official IMSA Esports series, especially in 2023 when they got 3rd overall. So he'd be used to these American tracks, probably why this championship has suited him so much. But they're heading onto the Ray Hall straight for the final time before we go racing, and it is very interesting to see the grid. Another man to keep an eye on, I think, could be Conor Melia in 6th. He'll be looking for a strong result at the start, but last year's season finale, he had a strong qualifying, and it all went to begging in towards turn number 2 of Long Beach. So you got to avoid your problems, but you also got to make sure that you get a clean start and take your chances. There's only 10 minutes here, not a lot of laps around a long circuit.
Not at all, and it all kicks off here, the finale. Very close to kicking off here. Just keep an eye on those front 2 rows. That is where all of our championship protagonists lie as we head towards turn 11. Then the pace car Porsche pulls off, and we're moments away then from kick-starting the finale tonight.
Yes, almost a 90-degree turn for the pace car into the pit lane, but he gets off and out of the way, and these Mustang GT3s are going to be unleashed here in Leguna Seca for the first time tonight, as Oscar Mangan puts pedal to metal and we go racing here in Leguna Seca. Great start for Sean McGoldrick, already up and alongside both of the McClements as Oscar Mangan is clear away down towards the Andretti hairpin for the first time. Keep an eye on Dylan McClements there in the purple, side by side with Sean. Oscar and Ronan are clear in front, and now Sean stretches his legs ahead of Dylan McClements. Conor Melia in 5th. Sean McGoldrick, despite getting that good start, he's down to 6th already.
Not a good start for Sean McGoldrick. Conor Melia just absolutely nailing that start, moving himself up into 5th place. Kevin Joyce there, we're watching on Under Pressure from Jamal Gandor as we make our way now onwards towards the left-hander. Then all pretty much single file at this moment in time, though. Sean McClements has got to be careful. He doesn't lose too much time against Ronan Doherty there. 2 brothers there, Sean and Dylan. I can really see them not working together at this early stage, with a couple of cars running wide there. One of them, I think, was Lawrence de Solsva running a little bit wide there. John McDonald, I think, was the other car involved in that one. Peter McCann, though, up into 8th place, starting 11th, but there's contact going in towards the corkscrew there. Jamal Gandor's been turned around, and Ian May stops dead in his tracks. I think he's just waiting now for Jamal Gandor to turn the car around. I thought he might have actually let Jamal through, but he's kicked off and got up into gear now. But Oscar Mangan almost leading by 1 second here at the end of the first lap's worth of racing, ahead of Ronan Doherty and Sean McClements.
Yeah, that incident into the corkscrew is an example of how not to do the Zanardi move, unfortunately. That is very disappointing for Ian May and Jamal Gandor, who have gone dropping down the order. Conor Melia right at the tail of Dylan McClements here. He seems to be one of the front cars looking to try and make moves. Great start for Brian McCarthy. I think the only time we've seen Brian until now was going off the circuit towards the final sector during qualifying, but he has got a good qualifying position and he is in 7th place. A couple of drivers who've gained spots. Simon Hutchings is up 4, Colin Carrigan up 6, Stuart Brereton, B-Series leader, he's up 5, so good start for Stuart to 15th, and then Lawrence de Solsva, of course, gaining spots from the back as well. All of those being a beneficiary of that incident between Ian May and Jamal Gandor, I should say, who have gone falling down to the bottom. John McDonald is into the pits as well. On board with Adam Dowling then, hot on the heels of teammate Peter McCann. He's looking to try and battle for 8th place. And Adam as well, another man who is high up the order compared to where he's been this season.
Absolutely, and it just seems like it revitalises you a finale. It's your last chance to try and end the season on a high. You do throw everything at it here, and the two teammates thinking about battling each other. I wonder if they're going to be having a chat. Look how close Adam Dowling gets to the rear of Peter McCann as we make our way out of the final corner. Oscar Mangan then 1.1 seconds ahead of Ronan Doherty right now. Sean McClements starting to lose ground against Ronan Doherty in that battle for 2nd place. Sean McClements has his mirrors full though of Dylan McClements and Conor Melia. There is your battle for 3rd place. You can say that's a 3-car battle for a final spot on the podium, but there's Peter McCann who's around at turn 2. And that was Brian McCarthy who was behind him. I wonder what happened there. Let's have another look at this one, Evan.
Yep, let's have a look on our first Gantry TV replay of the day. And that is Adam Dowling just in front of Peter McCann, or is Peter the lead car now? But it's certainly one of them anyways. In towards the Andretti hairpin, and Peter's just completely lost it on his own there. That is a rookie error for Peter McCann, unfortunately.
That looked like too much speed into turn 2, and the rear end just lost traction, absolutely. So unfortunate there to see him drop down the order. Let's see where he did rejoin. He rejoined in 11th place, so he lost about 4 or 5 positions there. Not ideal, but it could have been a lot worse. He's got a bit of time to make up against Tony Stack. Sean McClements still losing ground against Ronan Doherty, and Dylan McClements here in a championship finale knows he has to get past his brother here. And as you already said, there's not long in heat number 1. There's all rounds weighted exactly the same in terms of point scoring. Dylan knows he needs to make this move, and he needs to make it soon.
Yeah, Dylan is a driver suffering from an actual drop round. His drop round isn't 0. He's going to lose 42 points, or if he scores less than that tonight, at the end of the season. Dylan's had his fair share of bad luck this season, though. Had a bit of misfortune in mid-Ohio where he lost a few points, and that obviously isn't his drop round. His drop round is from Texas, where he was involved in incidents throughout the field. But Dylan has also performed excellently at other times where he took the only clean sweep of the season. In Canada, that is Jamal Gandor, or no, sorry, Colin O'Regan, very similar colour cars, so that's O'Regan dropping down the order. And I think he just ran long in towards turn number 3, so disappointing for Colin.
Yeah, it did look a bit unnatural though going in towards turn 3 though. I didn't quite pick up what happened there. I don't know whether the car just didn't bite in or he locked the rears slightly. It just seemed to go a little bit straight on. It looked a little strange, but there we go. Stuart Brereton, by the way, up 8 positions to 12th place. Yes, there's been scuffles up and down the grid and up and down the order, but still, to keep your head there, 12th place for Stuart Brereton, and that's Colin Carrigan really attacking the corkscrew then. I thought he might have been going for a gap that wasn't quite open there. Stuart Brereton wise to it, and Colin Carrigan getting it all slowed down at the corkscrew.
Yeah, Colin Carrigan chasing Stuart Brereton here for 12th position, and Stuart won, even though he will most likely be crowned B-Series winner at the end of the evening. he definitely wants a strong result as well. Took a couple of strong results in VIR, so would like to continue that strong form. But there's no move here for Colin Carrigan, so he doesn't have to worry about that for the time being. Here is the two McClemenses, Sean leading Dylan. Dylan knows that he probably needs even a lot more than third place at this stage if he'd like to win the title, but I'm not sure if championship ambitions would be on the mind of Dylan McClemens right now. He just wants to pick up strong results and ahead of the new campaign for next season. This is on board with Sean McGoldrick. He's definitely running a Valentino Rossi helmet. Valentino involved in another iconic battle in towards this corkscrew here at Leguna Seca back in 2006 or 7, I think, but yeah, brilliant fight there from Valentino with, I don't want to say Casey Stoner, but it was someone from that era.
Well, I have to say, Economilia will hopefully not have a check-up today, because it seems like the doctor's in with Sean McGoldrick wearing a lid like that, but we've got some battling going on behind then. Lawrence de Sosva then having to hold back Colin Carrigan. And in fact, Lawrence de Sosva has got his move done and moves himself up into 13th place. So now he's got Stuart Brereton ahead of him as we head away now down in towards the final few corners.
Have to give you the respect for that Valentino Rossi Conor Amelia joke. Very well done. So we got to appreciate our jokes when we can, because a couple of them that we've made this season have been diabolical, especially if you watched our Mid-Ohio broadcast. But Lawrence is also looking to attack Stuart Brereton. Here is Jamal Ganzor looking to re-overtake Gary Corcoran. Jamal has put the foot down after his incident and down towards the Andretti hairpin. Oh, that's way deep for Gary Corcoran. Way too late, almost hit the back of Colin Carrigan, and he's ran way too deep in towards the gravel and now has lost the spot to Philip Upson as well. So not going to be Gary Corcoran's proudest two corners.
No, it looked very sketchy there. That's Dylan McClemens, who's off the track then and loses out to Sean McGoldrick there. And also Conor Melia, who moves himself now up into 4th place. So did Dylan McClemens run just slightly wide? It certainly allowed Sean McClemens to try and clear up the road just a little bit, but it seems to have lit the fire under Sean McGoldrick to try and get a move against Conor Melia. Let's have a look at what happened to Dylan McClemens.
Yeah, let's have a look here again. This is on the run up towards turn number 6. Onto the Ray Hall straight. Has he just gone too deep into the corner? I think that hit the sausage curb. Hit that little orange sausage curb on the inside, and that just completely unsettled the car, and he ran onto the gravel. It's a minor mistake, but as we said, you get punished for everything here at Leguna Seca, and Dylan McClemens is unfortunately the man who's had to experience that. Yeah,
Leguna Seca does not care about your championship battles. It does not care how close you are to claiming a title. If you mistreat it, it will let you know. Oscar Mangan, though, is treating it very nicely. He's got a 5-second lead against Ronan Doherty as he now makes his way up towards the left-hander before the Rahal straight. And I'm just trying to work out here if this is the final lap. I think we'll have one more after this. It'll be tight at the line, but we'll keep an eye on it.
Well, if this is the final lap or we get one more, there's no real changing of the race lead, I don't think. Oscar Mangan 5 seconds in front when he needs it. Incredible by the championship leader, and he really wants to put a full stop on any conversations about him losing this championship, because he mightn't be on the strongest run of form. Of course, didn't race last week, but even up to that, not necessarily on the strongest run of form, as we will have one more lap after this one, as the flag man waves the 1 to go flag. Sean McGoldrick has just got past Conor Amelia, and Sean McGoldrick has now lost the spot to Conor Amelia because he's facing the wrong way. So we'll have to get another look at that one, but Sean McGoldrick facing backwards in towards the final corner. That's definitely a full stop on his championship endeavour.
Well, Dylan McClemens has managed to make his way through as well. Let's have a look and see. Conor Amelia and Sean McGoldrick then battling then in towards turn 11. McGoldrick tries to grab the inside line, then he is alongside. And, yeah, it's an awkward one there. Conor Amelia and Sean McGoldrick almost tangling up there. Not clear to see whether there was actually any contact there whatsoever. It did look like both of them left enough room, but apparently not.
Yeah, racing incident that one, I think, for me, because you can't really blame Conor. He was he was on the outside. You can't really blame him. But Sean was also the one who spun around and lost all the time, and Conor has been able to go on his merry way. So Sean initiated the move, seemed to make the mistake, and unfortunately has had to bear the brunt of it. But this will be the final lap of heat number 1. We've got 2 more heats coming up after this one. Heat 2, 15 minutes. Heat 3, 20 minutes and a reverse top 8. But Oscar Mangan has started this championship finale exactly how he wants to. It's a dominant win here in the opening heat at Leguna Seca, and he puts one hand on the championship winning trophy. Ronan Doherty will come home in second, but unbelievable that, Kieran. I don't think we've seen such a dominant performance in Heat 1 in quite some time.
Yeah, we're talking Jordan Kelly days, aren't we? Really, really rare to see. Now, Ronan Doherty second across the line, Sean McClements in third, Dylan McClements fourth, Conor Melia in fifth, Brian McCarthy in sixth place, then Sean McGoldrick recovering to seventh place. So, in terms of our championship protagonists there, it's Oscar Mangan first, Ronan Doherty second, Dylan McClements fourth, and Sean McGoldrick in seventh. As there's a drag race to the line, Stuart Brereton has managed to hold back Lawrence de Solsver in the closing stages of heat number 1, and Stuart Brereton will hang on to 12th place. Very, very good drive from Stuart Brereton, up 8 places, and obviously Lawrence not taking part in qualifying for most of the occasions this season, up 9 places. So very, very good driving, very good racecraft from them both.
Yeah, great racecraft across the field, although I'd like to see a little bit more overtaking in heat number 2. But we had a similar start in VIR. It was kind of dull for the first heat, and then heat 2 and heat 3 were absolute crackers. So we might still have that. Just waiting on Simon Hutchings to round us home. There he goes across the checkered flag, and that will be heat number 1. We'll have your full confirmation of your results now, folks. And it is Oscar Mangan who is able to take the win. I had a Ronan Doherty in second, Sean McClements in third with Dylan McClements in fourth, Conor Melia in fifth, Brian McCarthy in sixth, Sean McGoldrick in seventh, Kevin Joyce then in eighth, Tony Stack in ninth, ahead of Peter McCann, who rounds out the top 10. Then it's David Prunty, Stuart Brereton, Lawrence de Solsver, then it is Colin Carrigan, Jamal Gandor, Ian May, Colin O'Regan, and Philip Upson down to 18th position. And then a little bit further back was Gary Corcoran, Adam Dowling, Rich Murphy, Simon Hutchings, and John McDonald. Considering he got spun round on lap number 1, 15th is not that bad a result for Jamal Gandor. Goes to show what can happen if you just keep your head down.
Yeah, and of course, where you finish in race 1 is where you start for race 2. So Jamal will be right in the heart of that midfield as well, to try and make his way up the order. But we know Jamal loves to race. We know he's very good at making those moves, and I'm sure, you know, with race 1 out of the way, he'll be relishing the opportunity to get himself up the order more and more. So Oscar Mangan will be hoping then, as you've said, he's got one hand on the trophy. Perhaps maybe he can add the second one in the second heat.
Yeah, we'll have another formation lap, of course, behind the Porsche safety car. And then we will get going racing for this 15-minute heat. Then we'll have a quick word with your top 3 from this heat, and then we'll go again for the final race of the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup. And a big thanks to Motorsport.ie once again for their continued support of this championship. It's been a pleasure to have them alongside us. And if you don't know what Motorsport.ie is, it is Ireland's #1 outlet for motorsport news here in the Republic. So make sure you do go and check that out, as well as subscribing to us here on Gantry TV if you're enjoying tonight's action so far.
Yeah, and there's still plenty to get to unpack as well. We've still got 2 more races to go, one 15-minute, one 20-minute race, and at the end of tonight we will crown a champion. And Oscar Mangan is looking to see if he can write his name in the history books down in the Mustang GT3s, of course. I mean, you know what? I haven't seen many races. I've missed RTA. I have, but I will say some of the liveries out here, I'm going to miss them. They have really grown on me. You know, lots of drivers. I'm going to say Peter McCann and his teammate there, Brian McCarthy, both pretty much embraced the Americanness of the series. Mustangs in America. They got the brief there with the red, white, and blue.
Hold on. There's one person who's got the brief a little bit better.
Okay.
Let's cut to Sean McGoldrick.
Go.
There we go. That's Mustang.
Yeah.
That's
fair
America.
enough. All right, I'll give you that one.
Although I think that is supposed to be a Ken Block tribute. Yeah, I'm hearing it correct, Mayor. That is a Ken Block tribute. It looks very like the Hooligan livery, so that is what that is for Sean McGoldrick. A fitting tribute, I think, given the nature of the championship. There is definitely some beautiful liveries though here, and I have to agree with you on that.
And I'm going to miss them. Oscar Mangan's a good one as well, with the sort of the bluish Mustang. But let's stop talking about liveries now. Let's start talking about championships. Race 2's just around the corner.
Yes, we're into the hairpin where we had a little bit of drama the last time round, but not too much. Hopefully a little bit more to whet the appetite for heat number 3, and this is a very slow race start, and they're almost 3-4 abreast here. Look at this, it's like pack racing immediately as we go racing at Leguna Seca. Oscar Mangan leads them down towards the first corner, and there's already contact. It was almost inevitable. Jamal Gandor is into the pit wall. He's had some problems, some contact, and for the second time tonight he will be down to the back of the pack. He's using the pit exit to try and gain his positions back. You can see more battling here, 3 wide in towards the right-hander. Kevin Joyce leads Brian McCarthy, Peter McCann, Colin Carrigan involved in that one as well. Hectic start. We wanted a little bit more action. We're certainly getting it. Stuart Brereton runs in 11th.
Yeah, we certainly did get it with Jamal Gandor, and there is Conor Miller having to defend against Sean McGoldrick then, as Conor Miller will still grab the outside line out of turn 5, but Sean McGoldrick then taking no prisoners early on. Now in towards turn 6 we go, and up the Rahal straight. Sean McGoldrick has done what he couldn't quite do in the last race, and that was make a pass on Conor Miller, and this time it's taken him half a lap to get through. Watch out behind as well, because there's Kevin Joyce looking for a move down the inside. He's fired up for race 2 here. He's managed to get some moves done early on, and now he moves himself up into 7th place, and fancy Conor Millia's 6th place there. Oscar Mangan still about 8/10 clear of Ronan Doherty, but we saw this in race number 1. He managed to get it to about this gap, maybe slightly less actually, to Ronan Doherty. So Oscar Mangan, really a man in form, absolutely fired up. We've got a car off in the sand in the background. I think that's David Prunty in the background there. John McDonald currently running in P18. There's Lawrence de Sosva powering through to get himself P15. And yeah, the 3 wide there was a little sketchy, maybe even borderline naughty. But as long as they kept a consistent pace, there wasn't really anything wrong with it. There's Stuart Brereton around though.
B-Series leader Stuart Brereton has had a spin at the Andretti hairpin. Very disappointing for Stuart. He'll try regain a couple of places before the end of this one, as Ian May is under a big bit of pressure from Kerryman Tony Stack. There we go. He is looking to try and make the move up to 11th position. Oscar Mangan not being allowed to run away just yet by Ronan Doherty at the front of the field, but Sean McClements and co have been dropped, and the top 2 in the championship are looking to become the cemented top 2 out on circuit this evening, as Tony Stack has fallen a little bit off Ian May. There'll be no big move into the corkscrew.
Not this time though, as the battle of the McClements rages on now. Sean versus Dylan here. We look back from Sean's point of view at Dylan's front end. Down in towards the final corner we go, and there's Sean McGoldrick, who joins the battle as well in this battle for the last spot on the podium here in race number 2. Mangan and Doherty just breaking away at the moment. Doherty and Mangan pretty much matching each other for pace this race around, which is what Doherty couldn't do last time. Sean McClements and Dylan McClements taking slightly different lines through turn 2 there at the Andretti hairpin, as we wind our way in through turn 3. Just keeping an eye on those gaps as well. Kevin Joyce has got 3 cars behind him. Brian McCarthy, Peter McCann, and Colin Carrigan might be slightly dropping back. He's just there in the background. Ian May has got a quartet behind him. In Ian May, Tony Stack, Adam Dowling and Lawrence de Sosva all vying for Ian May's 11th place.
I don't think I've ever watched Tony Stack have a quiet RTA race. He always seems to be involved in some sort of battle. And this time it is with Adam Dowling and Ian May. And he'll look to try and take that 11th spot off Ian, and maybe even catch Colin Carrigan a little bit up the road. Peter McCann is trying to catch Brian McCarthy. But Sean and Dylan continuing their fight for the final podium spot. And it seems like these 3 are going to be the ones battling for this 3rd place. Mangan and Doherty well up the road at this stage, and Oscar even starting to stretch his legs a little bit. 1.4 now the gap in this one. Conor Melia in 6th, Kevin Joyce 7th, and then it is that battle that we were talking about between McCarthy and McCann. Has Sean McGoldrick got a good run off the final corner, and on the back of Dylan McClements down towards turn number 1. It seems like he's a bit too far back, but a neat braking zone here or a mistake from Dylan McClements might force a move, and Sean and Dylan made a bit of contact last week in VIR, so Sean will certainly be looking to get revenge on Dylan McClemens. I'm not saying getting him off the road, but an overtake is always a very sweet form of that revenge.
Goodness gracious, I didn't know what you were suggesting there for a second there.
Yeah,
I got a bit worried, but there we go.
dodgy.
Well saved, though. Well saved. No one noticed. There is Gary Corcoran looking for a move down the inside of Colin O'Regan then, and getting the power down. I think that's a wounded Colin O'Regan machine there, but Gary Corcoran has managed to find his way through. So too has Tony Stack against Adam Dowling. So Tony Stack now recovering at the moment to 12th place. He's lost 3 positions from where he started in this race, and further proves the fact that he just cannot have a quiet, simple race, can Tony Stack. He's always in the midst of a battle, always, you know, whenever we see him, he's scrapping for a position.
Although since saying that, it's kind of all settled down for Tony Stack. He's 1.4 off Ian May now. So there's a mistake. There's a couple of mistakes. That is Kevin Joyce, who's gone off the road, and one. It was Sean McGoldrick who went off from him. Yeah, it was Sean McGoldrick in that Star-Spangled Banner striped Mustang. He is down to 6th place, and then Kevin Joyce and Brian McCarthy and Peter McCann, I should say, now going to fight for 7th just behind them. So is McCann going to look down the inside here? No, he isn't. Brian McCarthy just that little bit too far in front of him, and then Colin Carrigan behind here in this one. So a couple of mistakes in towards that penultimate corner, which goes to show you can't take your eye off the ball here. You've got to be laser focused at every time.
Yeah, I was going to say, through in towards turn 10 there, for the 2 drivers in a row making exactly the same mistake. If that was sort of motorsport, you'd sort of say, is there fluid down on the track? Of course, you can't have that here in the Mustang series on iRacing, but it just looked so much like there was fluid down. But there we go. Con Amelia then under pressure from Sean McGoldrick as Dylan McClements looks like he's passed Sean McClements because Sean McClements is off the road. That's why Dylan McClements, that's how he got through. And is that a case? Has Sean McClements made a carbon copy of what Dylan McClements did in race number 1? Did he collide with the sausage curb on the inside of turn 6?
I'm not a betting man, but if I was, I would almost say this is a guarantee because it was very similar circumstances. It's certainly a mistake through the same corner of similar nature. Whether it was the exact same, we will see. Yep, it is a carbon copy. He has he's just about saved it from that tyre barrier as well. I know he made the initial mistake, but a job well done on the recovery for Sean McClements. Hopefully Heat 3 then is just a clear run to the finish for the McClements family.
Well, Sean McGoldrick making a clear move there on Con Amelia to get himself now up into 4th place. Sean McGoldrick, a man on a mission, up 3 places from where he started this race. Now he has his eyes firmly set on Dylan McClements and trying to close down on that gap. Halfway through the allotted time, Oscar Mangan leads by 2.1 seconds. He's found his rhythm once again against Ronan Doherty. And then it's Dylan McClements in 3rd place, Sean McGoldrick 4th, Con Amelia in 5th place, Sean McClements 6th, Kevin Joyce 7th, Peter McCann in 8th, Brian McCarthy 9th, and Tony Stack rounding off the top 10.
Yeah, this is John McDonald, who we were looking at. Once again, giving a big hello to Gantry TV on his Mustang GT3. Hello, John. Hope you're keeping well. John currently circling around in 13th, 2.7 off Lawrence Sosua, but well over 13 seconds back to Colin O'Regan. So a little bit of no man's land for John. He's just got to be careful, though, not to start falling asleep or anything, because that's one way to go wrong in Leguna Seca. John McDonald up 10 places since his race start. Started 23rd, now a comfortable 13th.
Yeah, very nice indeed. Adam Dowling, though, has got rear view mirrors filled with Lawrence de Sosva heading in towards the final corner now, getting the power down, riding on board now with Lawrence as he looks to try and pick up the toe that Adam Dowling, that hole in the air that Dowling is punching through. And can Lawrence, is he close enough to try and move down in towards turn 1? No, he is later on the brakes though, but he can't quite do anything with it. Wasn't quite close enough that time around, but happy to keep Adam Dowling under that pressure for the time being. Yeah,
Lawrence right on the tail of Adam Dowling here. He's trying his best to just catch up. Been a solid race, or solid evening I should say, so far for Adam Dowling. Ran well in the first heat, running well in the second as well, and I suppose a strong result in the final round of the season kind of makes you forget of any misfortune you had earlier on, or at least that's probably our commentators' perspective on things.
Yeah, we won't speak too soon. But yeah, Adam Dowling, currently 11th place right now. I'm just trying to see where he qualified. He qualified 20th fastest in qualifying. Sorry, he finished 20th there. So he's making his way firmly up the order. So yeah, a bit of a race one to forget, but he's certainly doing a mega job right now in race number 2. There's a battle for third place developing. Dylan McClements, Sean McGoldrick and Conor Melia. I did say Sean McGoldrick had the fire lit underneath him. He got the move done on Conor Melia, and he's just reeled in a 1.6 second gap to Dylan McClements. Now he's right on his tail.
Yeah, Sean McGoldrick absolutely flying here in the latter stages of heat number 2. 10 minutes out of the 15 gone, so we've 5 minutes left. Which is plenty of time for Sean McGoldrick to get a move done. He beat Dylan McClements in heat number 1 in VIR. Dylan beat him in the second heat. How's it going to play out in the second heat here at Leguna Seca? The final podium position these guys are battling for. Sean McClements 2.5 off Conor Melia since he made his mistake through this very corner. So Sean might have to settle for 6th, although not a bad starting position for Heat 3. And Sean McClements has made Heat 3 his own in previous weeks. A lot of gravel there on the racetrack, on the racing line at the corkscrew. Doesn't take a genius necessarily to figure out what's happened there, but that could be a little bit of an obstruction for these drivers. Still, the gap remaining under 0.5 of a second. Sean McGoldrick has a real shot at a podium here.
Yeah, but Dylan McClements has to be careful about kicking up the sand then. Sean McGoldrick is already fired up. He does not need for you to dangle out even more of a carrot in front of him there as we head into 4 minutes ago, just under, in that battle for a final spot on the podium here in race 2. Down towards turn 2 we go, in towards the Andretti hairpin. You see almost 3 slightly different lines, or slight variations of the Andretti hairpin and how drivers size it up. Sean McGoldrick here really looking to get back onto the podium here. He did finish on the podium last race here tonight, finishing ahead of Dylan McClements. He'll want a repeat of that one as he looks to try and fill the mirrors of Dylan McClements going in towards turn 5.
Yeah, looking to fill the mirrors as a mistake from Dylan McClements. Here comes Sean McGoldrick going for it down towards turn number 6. This is risky territory for McGoldrick, and there he goes, hits the sausage curb, bounces into the side of Dylan McClements. Door-to-door contact, and the opportunity is squandered by Sean McGoldrick. He spins round, does a great job to keep it mostly on the asphalt, but does lose the position to Sean McClements, and 2 into 1 just doesn't go.
Yeah, especially with that sausage curb on the inside. We've seen it catch out both of the McClements so far today, and it's just added another one of Sean McGoldrick to the list as well. And I wonder then, Sean McGoldrick was on such a charge then, I wonder how much that would have taken under a wind of his sails. It might have actually damaged the car, because he's straight into the pits then, and will make his way through the pit lane. I wonder, is this to retire? I hope not. Sean McGoldrick still has a chance of scoring a really good championship position here. Hopefully it's just a quick fix and he's back out onto track. Lawrence de Sosva then right onto the back of Adam Dowling. Dowling able to put on a really good defensive display, but look how close de Sosva is now. He's the closest he's been, it looks like, for the past few laps. He looks left and goes right down in towards turn 2, looking to go round the outside then of the Andretti hairpin. Adam Dowling says there is no way through right now. Lawrence de Sosva taking a slightly earlier apex to get the power down earlier, try and use that momentum going in towards turn 3. But once again, Adam Dowling keeps de Sosva behind.
Yeah, Adam Dowling doing a great job here. It's AD versus LD in the battle for 10th place here on the final laps of Heat 2 in Leguna Seca. Oh, little bit of a wobble mid-corner for Adam Dowling, and there's the commentator's curse. There's Tony Stack into the wall, so that is Tony Stack losing positions. Very disappointing for Tony. LD is ahead of Adam Dowling. John McDonald is ahead of Adam Dowling as well, and Tony Stack is going to fall here behind Sean McGoldrick. Adam, unfortunately, just couldn't sustain the pressure from Lawrence de Sosva. Made his own mistake in towards left-hand return number 5, and the avenue just opened for Lawrence de Sosva to get through.
Yeah, I do wonder if Adam Dowling there, that looked like Tony Stack had not long gone into the wall there, or at least into the sand, so perhaps the yellow flag slightly distracted Adam Dowling. I've been there before when it's just a sudden yellow flag and you just sort of lose all your bearings just for a brief moment, but that's all it takes, unfortunately. Dowling managing to keep it all together, though. He's still in 11th place, but this is the man who's on a mission right now. On to the final lap we go, and it's Oscar Mangan leading the way. He put one hand on the trophy in race 1. He might be about to put the second hand on race 2.
Yeah, 30 seconds to go, 3-second gap. Don't think Ronan Doherty's going to be able to catch it in towards the final corners here. I think Oscar Mangan is holding dry. He's only managed to take 2, I'd say only, he's only managed to take 2 heat wins per night, not able to take, hasn't taken 3 yet. So if Oscar could finish the season off with a clean sweep, that would be something unbelievable. Has to avoid a little bit of lap traffic, but down through the rainy curves and in towards turn number 2, or turn number 10, I should say, and turn number 11. It is going to be almost championship confirmation for Oscar Mangan across the line to win his second heat of the night here in Leguna Seca, ahead of Ronan Doherty in second. Dylan McClements will come home third, but 10 seconds behind the two. Oscar and Ronan have been on a different level tonight.
Yeah, they really, really have. Just in their own postcode, their own zip code here at Leguna Seca. But yeah, they've been absolutely brilliant. Dylan McClements across the line, 3rd place then. Conor Elliott in 4th. Sean McClements in 5th place then. And Kevin Joyce across the line in 6th. Great job from Kevin there to get himself across the line. Then Peter McCann finishing ahead of Brian McCarthy in that battle for 7th place. And Lawrence de Solsva is going to start or is going to finish, I'd say, 9th place. What that means, though, of course, we reverse the top 8 for our 3rd and final race, not only of tonight, but of the series as well. And that means Brian McCarthy is going to grab that reverse grid pole position heading in towards the latter stages of tonight. So keep an eye on Brian McCarthy, that's for sure. And Peter McCann will be starting right behind him.
Yeah, is it finally time for Peter to take an RTA win this season? He's been so close on a few occasions now. It would be nice to see Peter up there to round out the season. He's, or certainly the last time we came to Leguna Seca, he had a very strong Heat 3. I think he lost out 3rd place to Lawrence de Solsva. That was in the GT4 Cup. But we'll have full confirmations of your results here, and then we'll get a couple of quick interviews. It is Oscar Mangan who does take the win ahead of Ronan Doherty in 2nd, Dylan McClements in 3rd, Conor Melly in 4th, Sean McClements then in 5th, Kevin Joyce in 6th, and Peter McCann in 7th. Then it is Brian McCarthy, Lawrence de Solsva, John McDonald, Adam Dowling, Sean McGoldrick, Tony Stack, Colin O'Regan, Ian May, ahead of Simon Hutchings, Colin Carrigan, and Philip Upson rounds out your top 18. And then a little bit further back, we will have a couple of drivers who ran into some trouble. It was David Prunty, Jamal Gandor, Gary Corcoran, Rich Murphy, and Stuart Brereton, disappointingly. Let's hear from the dominant driver so far tonight, though, Oscar Mangan, winning heat number 1 and heat number 2. Oscar, where have you found this pace from? Leaps and bounds ahead of everyone.
Yeah, I don't know. This track is not one I particularly enjoy, but just seem to have kind of dialed it in with how the cars, kind of the characteristics and the corners themselves. So it's going pretty well so far.
In the first 2 heats, then, what was your biggest issue, if you can even pinpoint one? I know we've seen drivers struggle maybe managing their tyres in this car, especially. Is that an issue tonight, or what has sprung up for you?
First one, actually, it seemed like the tires stayed pretty consistent the whole stint. I think the kind of first lap and the last lap were similar pace, but the second race then, it seemed like everyone kind of dropped off 4 or 5 tenths. So I guess there's sort of around 10 minutes in, it seems to kind of change and get a bit more dynamic. So I'd expect in the feature now it'll be the same again. So yeah, kind of just struggling with, not really struggling, but just kind of trying to manage things like tire life and really trying to stay off the ABS. It seems here it's kind of seems crucial, and you lose a lot of speed if you, in the low speed stuff, if you get on the ABS, you just kind of understeer past the corner. So trying to avoid that as well.
Heat 3, of course, last race of the season. You'll be starting 8 on the reverse grid. Are you just going to have fun with it?
Yeah, I think if but I don't know if the championship is sealed or not, but yeah, no, it's last race of the season, and I really enjoy the car, so it'll be good crack to see what the racing is like.
Oscar, thank you very much for joining us, and all going well, we will be speaking to you again later.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to hand it over to Kieran now to speak to our second place driver, Ronan Doherty.
Yes, Ronan Doherty, 2 second places so far tonight. Ronan, you and Oscar have been in completely different postcodes, it seems, from everybody else. You were much closer to Oscar in this second race. You start ahead of him for tonight's final race and the final race of the championship. Can you keep him behind?
I don't know. I mean, he's probably about a tenth and a half faster a lap than me. So, and then I'm just making stupid mistakes. Like I've made a good few of them hitting them red sausage curbs and stuff, and then the tires are going off. So, um, I don't know. I'll just try and put a few cars between us, but you can never really predict what's going to happen in these races.
I mean, as well as that, both of the McClemenses have been caught out in particular by the sausage curb at turn 5. I mean, how easy is it just to stray a little bit too far over to the left-hand side?
Yeah, it is quite easy, especially with the sort of view you get in this car to make a slight error. And I done it in both races, so it's very lucky that I managed to save it both times and not have a bigger incident. So thankful for that, of course. But nah, look, I'm not really out the races today. I'm about a tenth and a half off Oscar, and I'm making a few mistakes. But I'll see what I can do in the last race.
Absolutely, and it's last race of the season. Then how do you go into it? Because let's have a look. You've won 7 so far this season. Can you make it 8? You must surely try and make it 8.
I'll give it a crack.
Ronan, I wish you all the best of luck. Good luck for the final race tonight.
All right, lads. Cheers.
And I'll hand it back over to Evan to have a chat with Dylan McClements.
Don't actually think we have time for Dylan, unfortunately. That is,
that's a shame.
We'll have to wait for after, as he's just heading into the final minutes of his warm-up. I would have loved to see who was on our cameras, just our stagnant cameras, while we were doing the interviews. Someone was on a practice lap or something, ran way too wide at turn number 2. It was Colin O'Regan, who, unfortunately needs to tidy that line up a little bit. You can see him out on track there. He's just getting a little bit of warm-up in before our final heat. But Brian McCarthy, Peter McCann will be on the front row for the reverse grid. Big opportunity for them because we're seeing drivers struggling with overtaking tonight.
Yeah, we are. I mean, struggling per se. I mean, there's been a bit of contact, there's been a bit of door-to-door, but it is possible to make a move around here, such as the nature of this high-speed, mid-speed cornering. There aren't many heavy braking zones. You've got the Andretti hairpin, but the fact that it comes off of the high-speed turn 1, if you haven't got that completely sorted there and the car's all nice and behaving, you can try and move there. And, of course, the corkscrew you can see behind us. I mean, you could definitely try and move there if you feel the inner Zanardi is just unbearable at that point. But yeah, it's a very high speed flowing circuit, and of course, overtaking needs the heavy braking zones from time to time. And if you don't have those around the circuit, you really have to try and engineer them, and you have to be quicker per lap than the car ahead, much quicker per lap, to stand a chance of making a move. But we've got the grid now for our final race of the championship.
We do. It is Brian McCarthy on pole, ahead of Peter McCann in second, Kevin Joyce in third. Kevin started high up last week, caused a little bit of trouble with those who were trying to get past him, so it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Sean McClemens starts fourth, Conor Melia starts in fifth, Dylan McClements in sixth, Ronan Doherty in seventh, Oscar Mangan in eighth, Lawrence Sosman ninth, John McDonald then will start from 10th.
Adam Dowling then in 11th place, with Sean McGoldrick then rounding off the top 12. He'll be looking for to make his way through the field in the final race. Tony Stack in 13th place, Colin O'Regan in 14th, Ian May in 15th place, Simon Hutchins in 16th, Colin Carrigan in 17th place, with Philip Upson 18th place, David Prunty 19th, and Jamal Gandor rounds off the top 20.
And then it is Gary Corcoran, Rich Murphy, and Stuart Brereton. Kieran, we've mentioned the Zanardi move a couple of times tonight, and I think any duo of commentators commentating around Leguna Seca kind of always mention it. Who do we think can pull off a move in this race into the corkscrew? We haven't seen one so far tonight. There has to be at least one.
I reckon Mangan's got it in him. He's surely, I mean, he's going into this. It's his final race. He says he's loved the car. You can tell he's so confident with it. He's only been off the podium 3 times. He's got the potential to do it, but he was unsure whether he'd wrapped up the championship, so he's going into it thinking that it still could be lost, so we might not see that move. Ronan Doherty, I think, though, I said to him, 8 wins this season, you can't end on 7, so maybe that's fired him up to try a move like that. I think those two are our best shot to see a Zanardi-esque move down in towards the corkscrew, and I hope we see it.
I really do. Although I think it's going to come from someone a little bit down the grid. Because I think it's got to be someone who isn't going to think twice about sending it down the inside.
I have a third entry then. How about Jamal Gandil? I reckon he's going to...
That's what I was going to say, actually. That's what I was going to say, because Jamal has been punted, he's been spun so far tonight. I don't think he is going to be taking any prisoners, so we could see a move from Jamal Gandil. Oscar Mangan hasn't technically wrapped up the championship yet, because of course he could go on an absolute rampage in this race and get a 90-point penalty, and all of a sudden Ronan Doherty's the champion. But if he has a clean race here, he has wrapped it up. So will be interesting to see how this one plays out. But of course, keep an eye on McCarthy and McCann on the front row. It'll be McCarthy on the inside in the yellow and black, and then it'll be McCann on the outside in the VRA livery that we've known to love. Evan Walsh, of course, in the green, white and orange variant of it. Peter and I think Jordan was on. Peter, Jordan and Aaron, I think, were in the red, white and blue. But pace car builds into the pit lane for the final time this season in the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup here on RTA, and it will be one more trip around this Leguna Seca circuit for 20 minutes as Brian McCarthy brings us towards the start-finish line, and we go racing here in the United States for a final time. Peter McCann looking to try the outside line, or will it be the inside line for turn number one? He's not really been given either. Sean McClemmen's going to try hook it the long way around the outside of Peter McCann and potentially make that move stick. Himself and Peter have come into blows on multiple occasions in RTA. They don't want to make it any more. Kevin Joyce in fourth, Dylan McClemens in fifth. Oscar Mangan is ahead of Ronan Doherty already for sixth.
Yeah, so nicely done then from Oscar Mangan. Does what he needs to do. Lawrence de Sosva running with there, and Sean McGoldrick looking to just get some moves done and dusted in these early stages. He's on the outside then of Adam Dowling. Can he get that move stuck in towards turn 5? No, the door is slammed shut. He cannot find a way through at that point. But Brian McCarthy, good start from him ahead of Peter McCann. Ian May gets a move done on Tony Stack. That's for P13. Sean McClements, though, looking to see what he can do. Now Kevin Joyce, Dylan McClements, Oscar Mangan. I mean, that is a terrifying crocodile, and that's that's an instant there involving Colin O'Regan, who had the inside line, and then one of the red, white and blue cars just went across the way then, and there's still afters going on. Jamal Gandil's been involved in an incident again. That's a huge one for Ian May, who's ended up upside down.
Yeah, Jamal Gandor involved in another first lap incident. So is Ian May, who's ended up upside down, heading through the rainy curve. That is Gary Corcoran, I think, having some problems. Jamal's steering is gone, so he's got to get that into the pits and fixed. That doesn't count as our corkscrew overtake, as much as we would love to count it. Brian McCarthy does still lead us round to start lap number 2, though. Oscar Mangan on the tail of Dylan McClements, and although it's a reverse grid, you know, Dylan is not going to be easy to overtake here, and Oscar's got to bide his time nicely, and he's got to just pick his points, pick his overtaking manoeuvre. We saw Sean McGoldrick try a move on Dylan in towards turn number 6. That didn't work out. Oscar knows he's got to be clever.
He does indeed. Ronan Doherty, though, looking to see if he can just upset the apple cart right now and see if he can find a way past Oscar Mangan. As you said, Oscar Mangan, whoa, that's a massive loss of oversteer from Ronan Doherty. Did he manage to catch that? Yes, he did. Wow, that was incredible from Ronan Doherty. Yes, he lost the back end. How he managed to gather that up, I wasn't quite sure how much of an angle he managed to lose the back end by, but he managed to gather it all back up. Yes, he's down to 10th place, but who cares? I want to see that save now.
Ronan Doherty doing very well to remain in 10th place. Disappointingly, we don't have a replay on that one, but you can press the left key on the YouTube screen, rewatch that one, folks, if you would like. That's your replay system for this time round. Here is Oscar Mangan, who's going to try it into the Andretti hairpin on Dylan McClemens. No, just sitting behind for the time being. And Oscar definitely is driving like a driver who has a championship in his hands, and he doesn't want to let go.
Yeah, there's no point making any unnecessary moves. He knows he can just drive like Prost at this point. He's done most of the hard work all through this season. He's been so consistent, only off the podium 3 times across the entire season. He doesn't mind making that 4 tonight. He'll only make the moves unless they're absolutely 100% on. And to be honest with you, with a man who's so close to wrapping up a title here at RCA for the first ever time, you can understand why he's a little bit tentative to make some moves he would be making before, as that's Adam Dowling getting passed there by Ronan Doherty. Doherty fighting his way back through the field.
Yeah, Ronan looking to just get what he can from this season finale, and that is Dylan McClemens you're seeing still under a huge amount of pressure from Oscar Mangan. And I suppose Oscar only making the moves he has to make when he can make them is kind of how he's ended up in this position. As wide for Peter McCann, Sean McClemens looking for the move around the outside. Is Sean going to be able to make it stick through the hairpin? Peter, no, gets a good run through there and gets a good exit, so decent line from McCann, but Sean McClemens of course will have the benefit of the slipstream down towards turn number 1, but just looks a tad bit too far back. McCann survives for now.
We know McCann can defend. There's Kevin Joyce just filling the mirrors of Sean McClemens, then down in towards the Andretti hairpin. All while this squabbling for P2 goes on, Brian McCarthy is able to build a 1.2 second lead at this stage. Still a long way to go. We've not even reached a quarter of the time through yet, and Peter McCann in second place there, as that was a little move up the inside, a little look up the inside I should say, in towards turn 4 there from Oscar Mangan, but you see he backed out of it and he lost a little bit of time there. Meanwhile, Ronan Doherty is in trouble again out of turn 4.
Yeah, something's happened to Doherty. He's down to 12th, and disappointingly it seems like it's going to be a very sour end to the season for Ronan Doherty. Peter McCann is under pressure from Sean McClemens once again, and is McClemens going to be our corkscrew overtaker? No, has to stay behind. No move on from Mangan either, as Kevin Joyce is kind of the in no man's land here. He's a battle in front, a battle behind, but no battle for him. I'm sure Dylan McClemens will happily share the wealth and let Kevin be under pressure from Oscar Mangan. There's another little mistake from Peter through that corner. If Peter, oh, big lunge from Kevin Joyce, big lunge from Kevin Joyce down the inside. Now he's got a battle on his hands, side by side with McClemens down towards the first corner.
Ooh, a little bit of a squeeze there from Sean McClemens as Kevin Joyce flashes the lights to remind him, I'm here, I'm down the inside, and Kevin Joyce through the inside, then down in towards the hairpin, does get the move done, but there's a little bit of contact between them, and Sean McClemens and Kevin Joyce collide there, going out of the Andretti hairpin, and that allows Conor Melia to see if he can get a move done on Dylan McClemens. He does. Oscar Mangan has now been thrown into the deep end. Now he goes up the inside, and in the space of a couple of corners, Oscar Mangan goes from 6th place and very tentative in his moves, and now gets himself back onto the podium places. Conor Melia now putting Sean McClemens under some pressure there, going through towards turn 5.
Yes, he is. Mangan sneaks through. McClemens down to 4th, and Conor Melia very sneaky behind, very tactical like a boxer, floats like a butterfly, stings like a V down in towards turn number 3, and he's able to make the move. He's now up to 5th. Dylan has unfortunately fallen down to 6th and all of that, but I'm sure he will have an answer. As Ronan Doherty and Lawrence de Soswa side by side in towards the corkscrew. Lawrence 9th, Ronan 10th. We wanted battling, we're getting battling here at Leguna Seca. The reverse grid once again providing the entertainment.
And yes, Brian McCarthy's now extended that lead to Peter McCann to nearly 3 seconds that was, but I think he made a little bit of a mistake through the final corner then, did Brian McCarthy, because that gap has come down by about 7/10 of a second. All the sort of lap times there are about the same actually, so perhaps it was just a little bit of a timing system there. Lawrence de Sosma, meanwhile, trying to see if he can ward off Ronan Doherty, who once again has to battle his way through. He's back up into the top 9 now, and now he'll have Adam Dowling right up ahead of him. Adam Dowling, I have to say, his last race was great. Now he's running in 8th place now. But for him, he's got Ronan Doherty right behind him. Sean McClemens has Conor Melia right behind him now as well. As we make our way upwards towards turn 5, Conor Melia just filling those mirrors slightly in towards turn 5, just reminding Sean McClemens he's there. And Conor Melia, I thought he did have a good run there, but he got slightly upset over the curbs there and sort of stunted that momentum he might have had on the run up towards turn 5.
Yeah, Conor just trying the Oscar Mangan tactic, it seems, of biding his time here, and he's not going to make any rash decisions. He's just going to wait and see if he can get past Sean McClemens. Probably knows that he doesn't have the pace to keep up with Oscar, so can take his time with Sean and try and get on the podium if maybe Peter or Brian makes a mistake. Oscar Mangan is going to put Peter McCann under big pressure in towards the final hairpin, and Oscar Mangan, he wants the three-peat. He wants the hat-trick of wins to round out a championship-winning season here in the Mustang America's Cup. You can see it. He now knows it's possible. Sets the fastest lap of the race. He's trying to hunt down Peter McCann in every corner. And Peter's not lapping slow either. He's catching Brian McCarthy. As there is side-by-side, this is Doherty, who sneaks down the inside of Adam Dow.
Yeah, Dowling slightly left the door open there, and Ronan Doherty said, "Thank you very much, I'll take that from you." Peter McCann now has Oscar Mangan right behind him. Through in towards turn 4 they go, and look how much speed Oscar takes through turn 4 there. Swoops to the right-hand side of the track. Will have to go the long way round in towards turn 5 if he wants that position then. Peter McCann trying to hold the inside line, gives him just about enough room there, but I think Oscar Mangan's got the momentum now, and Peter McCann tucks back in, holds on to third place. Oscar Mangan though up into second. He's got 3 seconds to make up against Brian McCarthy then, but he's lapping 1.1 seconds quicker than Brian McCarthy, and that was while he was battling with Peter McCann.
Yeah, as much as we would have liked to see Peter continue on that fight, probably a smart decision to just back in behind Oscar. He can now try follow Oscar for the remaining 11 or 10.5 minutes of this race and see can he catch up to Brian McCarthy now and try overtake him. He is under pressure from Sean McClements behind, and Sean and Peter, who have collided in the past, will be looking to not do it again. Ronan Doherty gets past John McDonald, as that is Lawrence de Soswa and Sean McGoldrick fighting, I should say. LD on the outside of Sean down towards the first corner. Is he able to make the move, stick around the outside of the Andretti hairpin? Oh, very wobbly under the brakes for LD. He's got to get it stopped though. Can't quite pull off a switchback, so McGoldrick will stay in 10th.
Yeah, as you said, the car looked a little bit nervous then, and Lawrence would have had to sort of counteract that to make sure the car was all behaving itself down towards the Andretti hairpin. Brian McCarthy then, we have a look back and you can almost cue the Jaws music now. 1.9 seconds is the gap between McCarthy and Mangan as we head over the halfway mark in the time allocated. There you can see how much the gap fell over the last couple of laps. It was 3 seconds about a lap and a half ago. It has been scythed down to 1.7 seconds, and it will continue to be sized down.
Can we pull that graphic just for Brian's dignity at this point?
Yeah, I feel like Ronan, our producer, is out for blood here. That doesn't seem.
He was
very
cheering
fair.
for Peter McCann, so
He was, yeah. Yeah, we see you, Ronan. We see you.
well, we hear you, but that is Oscar Mangan, who is definitely catching Brian McCarthy is one way to put it. As you can see Conor Melia flashing his headlights at Sean McClements here, urging him to get out of the way. Fastest lap of the race for Oscar Mangan, 22 flat. That's quicker than most of the field's qualifying times, and this is 11 minutes into a heat.
Yeah, unbelievable pace from Oscar Mangan. He's just taken another second out of Brian McCarthy on that last lap, and there you can see now making their way through in towards turn 4. There is your leader, Brian McCarthy, who had the reverse grid pole, and he's managed to just keep himself out of trouble here. Peter McCann doing his defending there, keeping cars behind him, has allowed Brian McCarthy to really just go at his own pace here, to really build his own confidence, go and be just as consistent as possible. It's allowed him to build the lead. Now, though, we're looking at Oscar Mangan, at this point, champion-elect, closing down that lead at a rate of knots.
Yep, he is catching to Brian McCarthy. He's catching Brian McCarthy, I should say, but it is one thing to catch the driver in front, it is another thing to pass. So Brian could go all elbows out here and make life very difficult for Oscar Mangan. Fortunately, I just can't see it, because Oscar's pace has just been a level above from start to finish tonight, and you can really see that now. He's in his groove, he is lapping extraordinarily well, and he is in second, with McCarthy obviously leading. McCann still in third, then it's McClements, Melia, Dylan McClements, Ronan Doherty, John McDonald, Adam Dowling and Lawrence de Soswa. Your top 10 for the time being. Now 7 tenths between the top two. Even just visibly into the corner you can see how quick Oscar is running. However, his fastest lap has actually just been beaten by Ronan Doherty.
21.9, that's an incredible lap there from Ronan Doherty.
That was his qualifying time.
Oh, and that's Kevin Joyce who's around then. That's at the penultimate corner at turn 10. And Kevin Joyce then will have to rejoin then all the way down the order. There's Lawrence de Sosva, who once again has Adam Dowling once ahead of him. This time, though, he's got Sean McGoldrick chomping at the bit going through turn 4, the bit between his teeth as Sean McGoldrick, to see if he can try and find a way past. On towards turn 5 they go. No way through this time around, but this is the battle for the lead then. We might see our corkscrew moment here, Evan.
No, unfortunately, Oscar Mangan doesn't go for it. Stays behind for the time being, and he didn't fancy risking his front bumper down the inside, trying to get past Brian McCarthy. Oscar's smart. He knows that Brian probably wants this win more than Oscar does, because he's not won this season, has Brian McCarthy, so he knows Brian will be willing to risk everything to try and keep it, and Oscar's just being smart about it. Conor Melia's got ahead of Sean McClements, however, in the battle for 4th. So Conor Melia is now the one to chase down Peter McCann. That'll be a very interesting fight. You can trust me on that one. As here is Ronan Doherty side by side with cousin Dylan McClements. It's Doherty on the inside, Dylan McClements on the outside. Ronan in the green, Dylan in the yellow. And here is Ronan Doherty, who gets the job done, and that'll be Ronan ahead into 6th.
Yeah, and it's been a really topsy-turvy race, hasn't it, for Ronan Doherty, but he's got himself back up into 6th place, so fair enough to him. Now he can try and see if he can find a way past the likes of Sean McClements, Conor Melia and Peter McCann, although Conor Melia and Sean McClements have had a tough time passing Peter McCann here as they now make their way through in towards turn 5. Up the road, though, there you can see the battle for the lead. I wonder at this point if Oscar Mangan is just working with Brian McCarthy as much as possible, but if Brian runs wide, here it comes. Surely, is it going to make a move? No. I thought there Brian McCarthy did make a little bit of an error there, going out of turn 6, running slightly wide. I thought that might have sized Oscar Mangan with the move, but yeah, he stays behind for now. With 5 minutes to go, is Oscar Mangan here helping Brian McCarthy to a win? Surely not.
No, he isn't. Oscar's in the championship lead for a reason. He's a cutthroat sim racer. He won't be giving up, even though it's only 2 points. He won't be willing to give it up, and he's going for it now, down towards the Andretti hairpin. Oscar Mangan wants the inside line. Brian McCarthy on the outside line, and Mangan, who's going to break later? Surely it is Oscar Mangan who hits his apex nicely. Is McCarthy able to hold it around the outside? He isn't. Oscar Mangan is into the lead in Leguna Seca once again. Took his time with it, but got the job done.
That's all it needs, though. It's all he wanted to do at this stage, is just make sure he makes the sensible moves, doesn't need to rush them, and now he leads the race with just over 4 minutes left on the clock. Peter McCann, though, holding on to 3rd place right now, and that is a huge train behind him, isn't it? 4 cars behind him, all wanting that last podium spot there. As we head our way through and towards turn 5, that looked like a really good run out of the corner for Conor Melia. You can see Peter McCann is all sorts of under pressure there. Oh, Conor Melia's run wide then. Did he clip that inside curb, then the sausage curb, which has dropped him all the way back? Sean McClements now takes over the baton from Conor Melia in trying to find a way past Peter McCann. No one has found the solution just yet, apart from Oscar Mangan.
No, what a great job so far for Peter, and there'll be a lot rooting for Peter to keep this P3, because all behind have had a taste of a podium at some point this season. Peter McCann, who actually might have, but not in a long time. Ronan Doherty lunges down the inside of Sean McClements. He got past Dylan a handful of laps ago. He's looking to try and get past Sean now, and you can see Peter McCann trying to give neither of them a slipstream down towards the first corner, but unfortunately he has to pick one. It seems like he's picking Sean McClements. Sticks to his racing line. Ronan Doherty dives down the inside of Sean, and Sean has to lift off the power to make sure he rotates through the corner nicely. Doherty is into 4th.
Doherty here is now up into 4th place. I think he's got a chance here. I mean, let's face it, Ronan Doherty's had a bit of a nightmare of a race. He's had a couple of spins and still finds himself in a battle here for 3rd place. Fastest lap of the race, and look at this. Look at the exit he got out of turn 4 now. He has to go the long way around in towards turn 5, but Peter McCann's under some serious pressure now. Doherty getting back onto the power, then looks left does Doherty, but no way through. He backs off, lifts off there, going through in towards turn 6, and now up the Ray hole straight. Will we now see up towards the corkscrew then? Doherty looks to the right hand side but tucks back in here. Not confident enough this time around to try and move. Peter McCann runs very, very narrow in towards the corkscrew though. That's not what he needed. Doherty is all over the back of him. McCann has to hold on for another 2 minutes plus another lap here. But Doherty trying to manufacture, size up this move.
Yeah, Peter McCann is under a lot of pressure. He's absorbed it so far, but we're just seeing few mistakes sneaking in to his driving. He's got a lot of cars behind him here for late in the season, although Peter was involved in a fight like this last time we came to Leguna Seca. Here's Conor Melia looking for the move on Dylan McClemens, and there's no move from Ronan Doherty either. Peter hits his apex nicely and hits the second apex nicely, so he'll stay in front for the time being. Doherty great through this sector though, so keep an eye on Ronan through turns 3 and 4, the two right-handers, down towards the one of two long straights here at Leguna Seca. You can just see Doherty gets a great run, and McCann's going to have to go defensive once again. Round the outside, not easy here. Peter knows that. Ronan's got to commit to the brakes. Peter needs to nail his braking, and Peter McCann, to be fair to him, has done. Now Ronan Doherty will try look for it onto the Rahal straight. Goes for the outside line on Peter McCann. McCann runs a tight chip, and Ronan Doherty's forced onto the curb and the gravel. This is going to allow Sean McClemens back through. It's brilliant news if your name is Peter McCann. Sean McClemens on the inside of Ronan Doherty. Doherty's not going to do this, is he? He is not going to do this, is he? Round the outside of the corkscrew, round the outside of the rainy curve. Unfortunately, it doesn't pay off, but that was unbelievable racing from those two.
That was unbelievable defending from Peter McCann. He stuck with his guts then, got the inside line, took it away, and now has left McClemens and Doherty to squabble amongst each other. Oscar Mangan, meanwhile, starts the final lap of the race, gets the fastest lap of the race as well to boot then. But we're on to the final lap now. Peter McCann's only got one more lap to see if he can round off a third place here in our final race of the championship. We said there'd be fireworks. Perhaps it's not for first place in the championship, but for third place in the final race of these Mustangs, and Peter McCann has put on a really good defensive display. Let's see what he can do in this final lap, and hope I haven't cursed anything.
It is 3 team DDR cars trying to get past 1 VRA car. The two of few teams here in RTA, as Ronan Doherty dives back down the inside of Sean McClemens. If Peter can just get out of these next few corners okay, he might just be home and dry. Big shout out to Brian McCarthy as well, still running a solid second, and thankfully for his sakes is avoiding this one. But Oscar Mangan is coming down through the rainy curves to round off a perfect end to the championship. He's been phenomenal from start to finish. He's one more corner to go, the final hairpin here at Leguna Seca. And to be the best, you have to beat the best. And Oscar Mangan has certainly done that here on Ireland's Premier Sim Racing Series. Oscar Mangan is champion of the Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup, and he has won 3 races here in Leguna Seca. Brian McCarthy second, Peter McCann third in potentially his best drive ever in RTA. Ronan Doherty fourth, Sean McClemens fifth, Dylan McClemens sixth, Conor Melia seventh. What a great way to round off proceedings here with this Mustang GT3.
I'll tell you something, Peter McCann though got 4 6th places through this season, 2 8th places, 2 9th places, add a podium to that now. Brilliant stuff, brilliant defending for Peter McCann. Don't ever say he didn't earn this podium, he absolutely did. Brian McCarthy also adds a podium now on the final race. His best finish before tonight was 8th place. Now he's got a podium to add to his name, and fair play to him. Yes, Peter McCann did a lot of defending there, but Brian McCarthy still needed the pace to open up the gap as much as possible. Oscar Mangan was the only man to pass him in that race. So too Peter McCann. He was only passed by Oscar Mangan in this race, and then I'm sure Peter McCann and Brian McCarthy will be putting all over their socials as a title, and a well-earned and deserved title as well.
Yes, it is Oscar Mangan who takes the feature win, as we're seeing a couple of donuts out on circuit, which is great to see. It always is nice to look at. Brian McCarthy then in second, Peter McCann in third, Ronan Doherty fourth, Sean McClemens in fifth, Dylan McClemens in sixth, Conor Melia in seventh, Sean McGoldrick in eighth, Lawrence Soswa in ninth, John McDonald rounds us out in 10th.
Yeah, Tony Stack in 11th place, Simon Hutchings in 12th, Adam Dowling in 13th place, Stuart Brereton in 14th place, and I'm sure I'll be champion as well, so congratulations to Stuart. Kevin Joyce in 15th place with David Prunty in 16th, Philip Upson in 17th place with Colin Carrigan in 18th place, Jamal Gandor 19th, and Gary Corcoran rounding off our top 20.
And then it is Colin O'Regan, Ian May and Rich Murphy to round us out for the final time this season. Let's have some interviews then with our as we are just hearing in our ears there, apologies for the bit of silence, folks. We are going to do third down to first for the interviews, which means we're going to hear from Peter McCann first. Hello, Peter. Congratulations. You always make an appearance in the commentary box at a season finale. Did you expect it to be in the form of a podium interview today?
I didn't. I did not expect that. And my God, I spent 20 minutes just being the, what is it, the plug in the bath or whatever way you want to call it.
Yeah, an unbelievable defensive performance there from you to keep some really quick drivers behind. What was going through your mind just every lap that was ticking by? Did you see an increasing chance of you holding them off?
Yeah, so my big problem was when there was only one coming up on me. So when you have a couple, like when you had Ronan and Sean there towards the end, if you can get them two guys starting to battle, then you're safe. But when you have the likes of Oscar there, Oscar just went around the outside of me in turn 4. I don't know if you've seen it, but I tried for like 2 corners, but it was just hopeless. But yeah, when you have a couple of guys behind you and you can set them battling, you're always pretty safe.
Yeah, and then obviously we'll be speaking to you a little bit later about RTA in a whole, but just more on your season maybe. You've rounded it off nicely with a podium finish, but overall, do you think this will be a season to remember?
So I missed 2 rounds with different things going on in life. So I think I should be top 10. I feeling I'll be top 10 now at the end of this, so I'll take that as a win.
And then in terms of the car, it's obviously a newer one to iRacing. Is it one that you fancy racing again?
Yeah, I hear it's not too great in the officials, but when we're all racing them, it's a fantastic car. You know, it can take a tap if needed, but yeah, it's hard on tires, especially here in Leguna Seca. Again, we were all struggling towards the end of the 20-minute race, but yeah, I really like it. If they can sort out the BOP on the officials, they'll be away with it.
Thank you very much, Peter. We'll chat to you again later, as you can see on your screen now. Just some of the defensive efforts from Peter McCann tonight. I'll hand it over to Kieran now to speak to the second place man, Brian McCarthy.
Yes, thank you very much. Let's drag him in by the scruff of his neck. Brian, can you hear us?
I can indeed. Hi, lads.
Brian, what a performance. I mean, you can go down and say that you were only passed by Oscar Mangan in that final race. You had a great turn of pace about you. Second place, best result of the season. How are you feeling?
I'm delighted, yeah. First time pole and best result in RTA, I'd say as well. So it's I've Peter McCann to thank, in all fairness, for holding up the entire pack. There wasn't much I could do about Oscar passing me. I don't have that kind of pace.
Well, I mean, nevertheless, still got a podium to your name this season. I mean, you started tonight on 82 points, and I think with that second place, that sort of it was a quarter of your entire season points in one race added on there. So that definitely takes you into triple figures. Is that a nice cherry on what's been a good season for you?
Yeah, look, I missed a lot of the season. I had other things on there in the evening, so I couldn't get on for the Tuesday nights, but back at it now for the last couple of nights. It's it's nice to get back at it again. Looking forward to the V's now next season as well.
Absolutely. And how has this a car been for you? I mean, you might have had limited running of it, but clearly I can hear the smile on your face from the other side of a microphone. But how's this car been for you this season?
I quite like it, actually, yeah. It's just once you don't burn up the tyres or heat them up too much, it's manageable. Spin up the wheels and it's a no-go then. There's no sting on the track, really.
Great stuff. And we were watching that battle between you and Oscar Mangan. We unfortunately did put up a graphic at one point, but we won't talk about that. About Oscar Mangan scything your gap down. But nevertheless, you got to race with Oscar.
Yeah, look, it was good fun to race with someone with Oscar's kind of pedigree there. It was, as I say, I was never going to be able to hold him off. I think he was just kind of playing with me there for a few laps before he took off. And I think he pulled 5 or 6 seconds. But yeah, I don't have that kind of pace. A lot more practice to get that kind of pace.
Yeah, playing with you like
good,
a cat.
Good fun, all the same.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, playing with you like a cat there. I fear you might have been slightly right. Nevertheless, though, congratulations on your podium, and to go and enjoy that one. You've well earned. Well done.
And thanks, lads. And look, fair play. I've been watching a lot of the streams this year, so it's great. Fair play to all of you. Fair play to RTA. It's a great old league to be racing and great crack as well with all the lads.
Thank you very much, Brian. Now go and celebrate. Go on.
Cheers,
You've
lads.
earned it. Cheers, Brian.
Chat later. Thanks. Cheers, Kev.
Thank you. I'll hand over to Evan for our round off the hat trick of victories and our new champion.
Yes, Oscar Mangan, Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup champion. Surely it's a nice feeling.
Yeah, delighted to finally wrap it up. It's been really fun. It's everyone's been really good to race against, and it's been very enjoyable just having the crack with the lads and getting down to business then on the track and stuff like that. So yeah, really happy.
Then tonight, obviously, you made things look easy. Is there a certain race in this season that you could pinpoint that you think was your best performance? Because I think me and Kieran would probably say it was tonight, but I know drivers usually have a bit of a different take on these, on what is considered a good performance.
I guess pace wise, yeah, today's probably been the most successful, like getting three. I think Coda was pretty fun as well. I really liked that track, and it was good pace there, and I had a good battle with Jordan and stuff like that. And then Montreal as well with the rain is always really good fun. I didn't have the best results there, but regardless, it was still really fun. So I guess they're kind of different. Um, I guess probably I'd have to put it into tonight was probably the most successful. So I'll go with that one.
And then throughout your sim racing career, of course, you've traditionally been very successful on sort of longer formats of races. Was it nice to maybe try something a little bit different and still be as successful as you have been in the past?
Yeah, it's really nice to just kind of have like these short but fun races that you don't have to worry about, fuel longevity and tires at in terms of double stinting and things like that, or even triple stinting in some previous races. So to just be able to kind of get down to brass tacks and duke it out with Ronan and Jordan and Dylan and Sean and multiple others, it's really fun to get back into kind of a sprint format where it's every three races a night. It's great.
And of course, it's been I think we have spoken to you about this, but it's been a different challenge for you. You've got to race different racers throughout the season, and it's been a pleasure to have you with us. Do you plan on coming back for the Formula V's next season?
I don't think I will be able to do it. I'm a bit busy with work heading into the winter, so I don't know if I'll be able to get the V's done. But I'll definitely keep an eye and be watching and see how everyone's getting on. And who knows after that, maybe we'll see what the next car is.
Oscar, it's been a pleasure to have you with us. And we also have a congratulations coming through from our sponsor for you, Motorsport.ie, have said, congratulations, Oscar, winning the championship in the best way possible. Great racing all the way down the field too. Great job, guys. So, Oscar, congratulations from myself, Kieran and Ronan, from RTA and from Motorsport.ie.
Thanks very much, guys. Thanks to all who've been really great running the whole series and yourselves for the fantastic coverage. And see you soon.
A big thank you to all our podium placers there, but we're going to bring one back into us as he does at the end of sort of every season. It's Peter McCann again, who you heard a couple of moments ago. While we wait for the official confirmation, while the other drivers are doing incidents, we'll have a quick chat with Peter. And Peter, it's been another very successful season for RTA.
Yeah, a great season supported by Motorsport.ie. It's been a remarkably clean season. This, I don't know, is it the car or has everybody clicked it up a gear? Like the pace has been phenomenal on the grid. We have faster drivers in now than we ever had, and a lot of the older two RTA drivers are really bringing their A game now as well.
And a different champion, of course. We've had 2 seasons of Jordan Kelly dominance. It's Oscar Mangan, who is known for his sim racing achievements. He's come in and he has won the title, but he didn't have it easy, which I suppose just furthers your point of how prestige this grid really is.
Yeah, we have no official results yet, but I will assume that Oscar has taken it, especially with the win there. Um, like he did arrive, and we all know who Oscar is, and like I'd rank him the best driver in Ireland, 100%, as regards sim racing. But like the top of our grid did bring it to him. Like the top four going into tonight anyway, were all within one race's points, like 30 points of him. Like Dylan was actually technically ahead of him tonight if he hadn't got 30 points in penalties, which is always seems to befall Dylan when we're talking here at the end of the season. But it's yeah, he had a race on his hands, 100%.
And I think Ronan Doherty, actually, if he hadn't got a penalty and a hypothetical as well from the last heat as well, he could have also been a championship contention to tonight. So consistency, I suppose, is still key. Is that sort of a message that the drivers consider as well?
I think so. Like there's a certain few of us that always go for that. Like I'd love to win races, but my goal is always like top 5. That's always the key. Or if you can't, like top 10 is going to net you decent points and try again next week. But yeah, there is a certain group there that's just racing for the front. Like I could feel the heat tonight where everyone there is trying to get to the front. Anyone that was behind me anyway was definitely.
Yeah, a great race tonight from yourself, Peter, and from everyone. Kieran, have you got any questions while we have Peter for our slightly extended interview with him?
Yeah, I mean, I just want to go back to your the last race. I mean, that's the podium you were sort of craving for towards this season. You finally got it, but boy, did you have to work hard for it. What's the secret to keeping them all behind you?
I don't particularly know. Around Leguna Seca, it's pretty tough to pass. So once you have that in your pocket, and you can get to the apexes, and you're not braking too early, like because I had a few times where Ronan was getting alongside and stuff. But once you have him on the outside, and you're getting to the apex, and you're not overly slow anywhere, they can't really like either commit to a dangerous move or actually get by sheer pace.
Yeah, and obviously it's a new name now to the Wall of Champions, a name we've not had before, and Oscar Mangan. He's already said maybe he's not going to be here, unfortunately, next season. But I mean, a new champion to add to the wall.
Yeah, it's good to see. I was delighted to see him signing up because it really did shake up the lads. I know they'd never admit it, but Ronan and Jordan, Dylan to some degree, and Sean, they all are regulars. All struggled to take it to him, I suppose, is the best way to put it. There was some other great drives this season as well. I can let you in on a couple of awards, I suppose. I don't think anyone's watching. Jamal is going to be our most improved driver. Up to tonight, he was 9th in the championship overall. Jamal is one of our drivers coming up from the Bs, and he had a few storming drives this season, and to get 9th in this grade is really good going. Beating Rory O'Shea, I might add. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'll hand it back to Evan now. So that's me. I've exhausted all my questions now. But it's been a pleasure, Peter, to come into the commentary box whenever I'm allowed to. Whenever you leave the door open, really, I just sort of sneak in.
Yeah, no, literally, folks at home, he does. Like we wouldn't hear from Kieran all week, and then about 7 o'clock, he's like, "Oh yeah, I'm around. I'll join." We're like, "Happy days." Any other little things you can let us in on, maybe, Peter, in terms of what's coming up for RTA? Obviously, we have the Formula V's next season and the Endurance Championship ongoing. But is there any other little things that you might be able to tell us while you're here?
Not that I can disclose, but just for anyone that's thinking about joining the V's, like anytime we've had the V's in the championship, it's been 4 wide all the time, everywhere, no matter what track we go to. It was phenomenal racing. So it's a good one to get involved in, and like the registrations are way up for next season. So with even 2 weeks to go from today, so you want to get entries in if you're thinking about it at all.
And yeah, of course, you can sign up to join the Formula V's at rtavirtualmotorsport.com. We still have to discuss our driver of the day as well for the final time this season. And I'm not just doing this because he's here, but I was genuinely going to suggest Peter McCann, Kieran.
I thought you might.
Oh, this is a setup.
How suspicious of you. Hey.
Should we do a coin toss again?
What, between Peter and Peter? Well,
he's managed to lose the other two, so he'd still find a way.
That's true. Yeah, so he'd still find a way to lose a third and final coin toss. Well, yeah, I mean that's a very strong bid. I was going to give a shout out to Adam Dowling, though. I thought he had a really strong run in the midfield there. He had some great battles with Lawrence de Sosfer as well. But go on then. While he's here, go on then.
Peter McCann, driver of the day for your final round. Sure, isn't he? Only delighted sat beside us. He's got to try play this one down and play the humble card. But
there's a tear in my eye.
There we go. Yeah, there we go. No, it was a great drive from Peter tonight. And one last thing I suppose we forgot to address with you, Peter, is we had a fabulous sponsor on board with us this season.
We did in Motorsport.ie. Their support meant a lot. this season to see all the posts going up and the sharing of the streams and amongst the real racing news, I suppose. And it's just, and I'm always saying it and people hate it, but it's like the blurring of the lines between what's real and what's not real when you've seen all those posts going up, and it's just mad. And the trophies are absolutely awesome. I tried my absolute best to come back to give Brian McCarthy the win tonight, but it just didn't play out for me. So it did.
We can steal one of Sean McClemens's. He only needs one. He doesn't need two. We'll steal one of his trophies. But yeah, you can check out the trophies. I think there's a photo on RTA's Facebook page if you want to see what those trophies look like. They genuinely do look really good. So a big thanks to Motorsport.ie once again for providing them. We're just still waiting for the official confirmation on our championship winners, folks, which will be coming shortly. The lads are cutting through the incidents, which we unfortunately had a few of tonight. There's a couple of penalties being handed out, but I think over the course of the season, we really did see a lot of clean and excellent driving.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, it was great to watch in the sort of the handful of races I was in the box for. It was great stuff. I mean, as you said, Peter, what it was about the Mustangs, maybe tin top, maybe they were slightly wider, maybe discouraging a couple of moves, but on the whole, I thought we saw some fantastic racing, and that was pretty much underlined for tonight. Which begs a question, Peter, for Formula V's next season. Obviously, Cadwell Park is a new addition to iRacing, been recently announced it in the last couple of weeks. A very narrow track, much narrower. They call it the mini Nürburgring. And having it as a season finale, that's an interesting call.
Yeah, the addition of Cadwell Park almost drove us instantly to the V. To be honest with you, it's the perfect car for that track, and we all, or the most of the grid here, would love Cadwell Park, and it's delighted to see it added to the grid. That last sector over the mountain and the S's down into the two rights is going to be bananas in the V's, especially if we're trying to do our 2 or 3 wide thing. So it's going to be dead interesting.
Yeah, I wonder if the V's will get some airtime. I know the motorbikes can. Maybe the V's aren't fast enough for that one, but you never know. Up the mountain, great track if you've ever been. Can only hold club racing and top class motorbikes, but absolutely top class. Go there, fantastic track. So glad to see it in iRacing. I'm sure you agree, Peter.
Yeah, absolutely. The addition of the famed UK tracks, I suppose, any of them that keep getting added, I'm all for that. It's really, really good. Guys, I'm going to drop away. I have to say thanks to all you guys, Gantry TV, Ronan in the background as well. Fantastic job all season as always. And we love watching it back in the evening, so thanks a million. The pints are updated, so I'm going rolling.
Thank you very much, Peter, for joining us once again for the little bit of an end of a season chat. I've just refreshed the website, rtavirtualmotorsport.com, of course, folks, and we do have confirmation of your champions. We can start with the B series, and I just got to say a job well done to this guy, Stuart Brereton, your B series champion. What a season from him, even missing a few races due to work commitments. He has taken the championship over Gary Corcoran and Rich Murphy. So that's your top 3 for the B series. And then, of course, in the main series championship, in 3rd place, picking up another brilliant career finish in RTA, is Dylan McClemens with 464 points. An excellent job done by Dylan. In 2nd place is Ronan Doherty with 509. Another runner-up position for Ronan Doherty, which means, of course, you're officially confirmed Motorsport.ie Mustang America's Cup champion is Oscar Mangan with a whopping 555 points. Easy on the eye, but certainly a very substantial victory, Kieran.
And a new name to add to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, Oscar Mangan, absolutely deadly consistent. 8 wins across the season. He managed to get the 8 wins ahead of Ronan Doherty. Most wins in the season. Only finished off the podium 3 times in the whole season. Scarily consistent all the way through, thoroughly deserved the title, and his name will forever be etched and associated with the Mustangs.
Yes, he came, he saw, he conquered here in RTA Virtual Motorsport. And we do hope to have him back at some point. I know for a fact he doesn't like single-seaters, so I do hope we see him back once we get back into the tin tops. But I think that's about all we have time for here in Laguna Seca. Another brilliant 8 weeks of RTA action. We'll be back in 2 for the Vs. Of course, there is the Endurance Series next week, which I think you can get involved in. If you do check it out on the website, that will tell you more information. A big thanks to Kieran McGinley, of course, alongside me tonight, and Kevin Galvin, who's been hopping in and out and torturing you with some of his jokes, but don't tell him I said that. And a big thanks, of course, as always, to Ronan Hederman behind the scenes, who makes it all happen, as well as all the admin team at RTA Virtual Motorsport and our fabulous sponsors, Motorsport.ie. My name is Evan Dalton. It's been a pleasure to have you alongside us for the whole season, as well as tonight. Stay safe, stay well, and we shall see you in 2 weeks' time.